Hi everyone, Daniel here, and thank you for tuning into my channel. Welcome to my coverage of the Frome Model Railway show with the cheese and grain. I came here for one particular reason, and that's to get help for my new N-gauge model railway. But here, I figured I would just check out all the different layouts while I was here, and we start here with Crossbombe, the first one you see on the right, and it was a lovely straight line layout, and very humbled if you ask me, and yes, you know, I'm a sucker for Great Western Railway, so this one spoke to me at a personal level. The little DMU going backwards and forwards, that was really cool. They even had like the old rail car, like they have a Didcot Railway Centre. That was really cool to see. So yeah, I got the feeling this one was based on a Great Western heritage railway somewhere. And what I really liked is that they had a little model of the Loco 1466, which you know was actually recently redone and put back into action at Didcot Railway Centre that I saw in action last year. There was some bad news with that one. Unfortunately, there was an insurance issue and they had to pull it from service, but they managed to get it all sorted, so it's all back up and running again. But yeah, I was looking at all the different minor details of the station, the cattle dock, and it all looks really nice. I also loved how simple the background was painted, you know, just acrylic on board, I think. It shows you don't really need to have like amazing skills to make something look good. As long as it's colourful, it's fine. That's what I love about railway modelling. It's whatever you make of it. There was a barnyard there, what looks to be some sort of warehouse. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I've seen a lot of these on social media, and I always think that they are really, really adorable. So if you have any N-gauge or Z-gauge track, you can actually build a model railway in little places like suitcases, cupboard doors, and this one was giving you an example, and it looked absolutely lovely. I just think that it's really inventive that you can use any little space to really... I've seen even like bookshelf railways or hanging shelf railways, and I've been trying to gain inspiration for future model railways like that, and you could see all the little details like the pig farm and the cow fields. This one was unique. Where is it at? Now, I'm assuming this is based on Brownsea Island, given the badge there. Squirrels, I believe? I think it's a scout thing. I never really did that when I was a child, unfortunately. It's not the kind of thing I would be able to cope with, though, unfortunately, given the way I am. Here's another one. Now, I've noticed a theme here. There were a lot of narrow gauge model railways here, and honestly, I think that's a really cool thing. This is either N or 009. I didn't really ask, but it's nice to see narrow gauge railways get the attention they deserve as well, because people don't seem to think about those much, even though they are still a vital part of heritage railways, especially in Wales. There were also dealers there, like here's a guy or a company that fixes or does up different model trains and model locomotives, and even fixes them up if you got issues, and this is just an example of what they do. So you can do all sorts of things with locomotives. I'm going to show you in a minute. I just like seeing the rounds of all the different engines going around carrying the different trains, like this steam locomotive being carried. Robert's Railway Repairs. You can see the lights working on different locomotives. There are different ones opened up, as you'll see in a minute, which show you intricate details like lights in the engine shed to make it look like they're doing some welding, a flashing red light to suggest a firebox. All really clever stuff, and model railways have really evolved in such a way that you could really much do anything if you wanted to, if you have the intuition and intuity to do it. Now we move along to Cracklington, another narrow gauge railway. This one definitely gave Welsh Highland vibes or Scottish Highland vibes. And again, narrow gauge railways seem to be very synonymous with Wales, and Wales is on my hit list for railways I definitely want to visit. Not just the big standard gauge like Llangollen or anything along there, but I'd love to see Talyllyn Railway. I want to see Festiniog. I want to see all these different railways if I ever get the chance. I don't know if it'll be this year, but fingers crossed. So the quay looked wonderful. So obviously it looks like a village. I love the pub in the background there. It's amazing how much detail goes into all these different areas if you have the time and ingenuity to do it. So I was just, sat there watching the different locomotives run, like the passenger train, the goods train, trying to find things to see, something unique that definitely brings it together. So whereas there are some model railways here that are very eccentric, there are some that are humble, like this one. And this one definitely set out what it wanted to do. Now we move along to Woody Lane. Now this one was very, very detailed for the small space it had, but for a small railway it was absolutely gorgeous. Again, narrow gauge, sensing a theme here like I said. A simple loop track with more focus on the scenery, like the roads, the bridge, everything. Honestly, a lot of these model railways I noticed this time around had stunning tons of detail in different areas. There's even like another locomotive on a higher track up there. That'd be fun to do one day. Have two different sets of track. But yeah, there's something about a village and a railway going along it that just fills me with joy. Now we go to Wedmore. Now this one is a much larger scale. This is an O gauge, and this one looked absolutely stunning as well. Again, this one is very based on the Great Western Railway. One of the standouts here was the signal box that looked incredible with its attention to detail. Now, I don't know if it's easier to model in O gauge compared to double O and N. If you have difficulty in different gauges or find them easier, please leave a comment and let me know. One thing that really did make me giggle was the Wickham line inspection trolley that was going up and down. And in one of my previous videos at Somerset and Dorset Railway, I actually rode on one of these, and they are a very, very fun way to get a unique view of the track. So that was really cool. And what I really liked is that each locomotive here had sounds included in them. So each locomotive had sound, which really added some realism to this track. So here we are at the Great Western Locomotive, 2276. I have to admit, I'm not familiar with that class. One thing I did like seeing was the rail car come in. Again, diesel rail cars seem to be very much at home at the Great Western Railway, which is surprising, because when I think of Great Western, I think steam. But again, that doesn't mean I don't like them. I like rail cars. I like DMUs, so it was nice to see either way. And you'll see in a minute, we'll see the steam locomotive take off, and it's just stunning to watch with the backgrounds, the scenery, and everything is so evenly done, the scenery to the background. Simple yet effective, and again, this one definitely succeeded in doing what they set out to do, I believe. I'm really getting shades of West Somerset Railway with this one. I don't think that was their inspiration, but that's what I feel, because again, that one is the most well-preserved line, or one of the most well-preserved. Next up is Stonehaven. Now, this one was very unique. This one ran through a town centre, a quarry, and a dockyard. So there was actually different things to suit different types of rail enthusiasts. Some people like train spotting in the city or the town. And they were all old towns. I'm assuming 70s and 80s was the inspiration, but it honestly looked so good. Like, it reminded me of childhood, being a child born in 1994 in an old Victorian town. So, yeah, this van made me laugh. A news van. I didn't even know those were a thing. Nowadays, they're just sent by a post, you buy them in a garage. There was even a school with a sad, lonely hopscotch area. I haven't thought about hopscotch in years and years, not even since I was in school. A church, and there's the quarry. Nice little Class 08 down there. Gotta love an 08. They even used one of the line cleaners as a coach in the quarry, which I thought was really neat, given it was Network Rail livery. So here comes the passenger train. So I'm guessing this was based on the 70s, 80s, or 90s, given the fact that this is a diesel passenger train. Again, just intricate details here. So you can see the town, there's like the fields, but so again, like a country town sort of thing. Always nice to see. I guess I look for things that sort of hit close to home to me in terms of area and nostalgia. Honestly, well done to these guys for making a very well leveled, laid out, and fantastic layout. Now, this is a TT120 demonstration track, and I don't know who this one was. It didn't really show very clearly on the map or brochure we were given. I have a feeling this was a trader that was showing off one of their displays for their products, and it looked good, don't get me wrong. There was even like some expanding foam in the background to show you how they probably do like the hills and all that, but yeah, it was just a nice addition to see. So if anyone knows any more about this one, please leave a comment and let me know. Now we move to St. Gracier. Now, I have a feeling this is based in one of the other European railways, because this clearly ain't the UK. I don't think we have that many overhead cables, nor trains that look so advanced. You know, privatization and all that. But yeah, there was even a turntable with a steam locomotive. I'm going to go out on a limb because I didn't really read the information. I kind of rushed my visit here today because I was trying to find an N-gauge inspiration. Germany, Denmark, or something like that. But there was still some nice detail, like the lonely Coca-Cola thing. I even like that one of the wagons was painted with what looked to be graffiti. That was a really nice touch, actually. It really added some real uniqueness to the railway. But it also looked clean. So yeah, I still really enjoyed seeing this layout regardless of my lack of knowledge. Here we are to the main reason for my visit. The N-Gauge Society had a layout of Bristol Road, and this one was a modern Great Western Railway inspired layout, and it was so cool. Although Great Western Railway is nothing like it used to be back in the golden days, it's still nice to see a livery so close to home. I like the livery, honestly. The green is just synonymous with what I believe to be West Country, and the town looks incredible. There's like a BP, I think there's a processing plant or something. There's even like a Class 66 going along with the quarry train. It's in a town by looks of it, so I thought this was based on Bristol, but I think it might be one that leads into Bristol, but it looks so industrial, very suburban. This one actually became my favorite layout of the entire visit. Seeing all the different GWR inspiration in trains, and it was so clean, tidy, and sturdy. This is a society that did their job well, and they were actually really helpful as well. So for those who don't know, I'm actually in the process with my dad of building a model railway in the N-Gauge. Just so that when I'm back at my flat and I'm not at my parents' house, I can have something to play with, and this is where I got the most inspiration from. I'll give out more details later on, but they were really helpful. We didn't have quite the right track. We just bought some track from the Frome Model Center to get an idea. Oh, actually, I just want to quickly say this. The first Great Western livery, that's so iconic and nostalgic to me. I love that livery. I miss seeing it. But yeah, no, they gave us actually loads of advice on what the right gate dimensions and right tracks and everything we need, and he even directed us to the traders table of the Frome model shop that were actually trading there, and we're going to go up there soon and pay a visit. And now that we know what we need, we'll hopefully get everything we need to hit the ground running with the layout. But yeah, I adored this layout. I even love seeing the little Class 43. I wish they didn't say goodbye. I guess one question most people have is, how would you make a layout for an engineering works or a depot? Well, Elm Engineering seems to answer that question. This one was flooded with Class 08s, and you know I love me an 08. And what made me chuckle is there were actually tanks on bogies. Whether this was based around the time of World War II, I have no idea. I'm going to assume it was. Either way, it was nice to see a model layout that had Class 08s just plastered everywhere from old to new. There's a little guy going into the, I'm assuming a break room. I'm not a worker, so I wouldn't know. But it's nice to see. There's like some clean 08s, there's like some rusty looking 08s. This one had a bit of trouble going, so we pushed it. I cut that out, but when it got moving, they moved quick. So that was really cool to see. Now, the livery of Ivor was really, really neat. I liked this one a lot. Although this one, I think it's a Class 09? Yeah, it is. 97800. Yeah, so that's a little bit different. I might be wrong. I need to look up each different one. Now, do you want to see something really unique? This is the biggest and most inspirational layout, and there is so much to see everywhere. It was a blink and you'll miss it layout. It's inspired by the author Agatha Christie, and you look everywhere. Again, blink and you'll miss it. So, Agatha Christie, I've not actually read any of her books, but I know that she is an author that really, wrote heavily on murder mystery. And many of them seem to take place on the rails, so that was really neat. And there are some assets and different scenes on the layout that actually are inspired by some scenes in the books. They even had a working windmill that spun around, which was so cool. Now here's one that's obviously World War II inspired. You've got the St. George flag on there, and you've got some tank under wraps, and what looks to be some assets to build an airplane. Murder on the links. If you look at the golf course here, poor guy got lost in the bunker. That just made me chuckle. There's even a crane engine. You don't see many of those steam locomotives with a crane built onto them. But no, I was just really, really fascinated by the spinning windmill and all the intricate details. There's a house on the quay by the fire duct. There's a mansion. There's like a desert scene. And there was a little mystery machine from Scooby-Doo. That was hilarious. There was a boat and all the different vehicles. Like there's like a van at the top and this boat all move using magnets, and they've got all of her books lined up in a row. It's almost like there was also some Mr. Men and Little Mrs. books. I don't know what the correlation is here, but I'm guessing it makes it relatable to children. There's a little signal box there. There's some goods. Again, I went back to the crane engine. That was really neat. Again, I just kept going back to the windmill because I just was so fascinated by it and the mechanics of it. Now, this steam locomotive looks unique. I'd never seen one that looked like a rocket like that before, but it was doing what looked to be a Pullman service. Again, that could have been based on a design from a book, one of the illustrators. The boat was turning around, and they even had on their tablets these different software to control the signals like I've got on my layout. So that was really cool to see. I know in one of the previous visits, we actually asked about changing signals and all that, and that was what really helped us. This is a quote from Agatha herself. I mean, she's not wrong. I don't fully 100% agree, but it does add some much needed thinking to the way her books work. The town looks really good as well. The underground, I'm guessing that's, again, Totally unrelated. You don't see many London Underground railway layouts, which is a shame. Even the background looks like a bookshelf. It was almost like, it's like, the vibe I got from this layout is having a train set in your Manor's library. And although this one wasn't my favorite, this one was definitely the best. And this one was obviously going to be the winner of the best at show. And good luck to all of you. And I hope everyone got the recognition and love they deserved. Like, here's what I'm talking about. Bookshelves, library vibe. Phoenix Model Railways, I wish I had your level of time and inspiration. You hit the ground running and knocked it out of the park. Well done. But there are a few more little ones I wanted to show off. Upstairs is the function room. And the first one you see on the left is a 009 gauge, or two different model railways. The first one is a more mature one by Morellas, and it looked really nice. Now this one I thought was really cute. This one was, again, very professional looking, but it was a lot more colourful. And as you can see, those are the narrow gauge locomotives from Thomas the Tank Engine. There's Skarloey. And here's what they did. They put googly eyes on the coaches, which I thought was a nice touch. That yellow Rheneas, I believe, is supposed to be Duncan. There's the actual Rheneas. And there's Peter Sam. Birds Hill Quarry. And again, the narrow gauge definitely did a lot of work around the quarries. I remember those stories from the Railway series. Next up was Lilliput. I didn't look at this one too much because they had some issues running their line, but I liked it. It was a nice, simple, yet effective one. And the last one we saw was a proper depot, Fareham. Now, I gave a bit of attention to this one because, again, I was thinking back to how do you make a depot or quarry look good? And the answer is very easily, honestly, if you think about it enough. I was looking at the houses, and they didn't look like they were from your standard model railway sets or inspiration scenes. I think they probably bought those probably from like a special antique shop or something, but they definitely did fit the vibe. Again, there's a working class 08 and a 00 gauge modern Great Western Railway, one of the 150s, the passenger trains. Anyway, I just sort of sat and sort of watched the 08 go. I mean, I say 08, it could be 09. This one is definitely 08, and this is what I love about the Class 08. It was such an ingenious, intuitive design that they just kept on using it for later classes up to 13, I believe. That's how good the design is. Anyway, that's all the layouts. I really enjoyed my day, and I really loved it. So here's what I got from the day. The first thing I got were 2 glove lamps. So these are like sort of like straps that you put around your finger and thumb. And I got them for both my left and my right hand because I could not only just use these for model railways. I do a lot of art and creativity generally, so this would be good for helping me to craft things. The other thing I got, I didn't spend a lot, was a N-gauge towed brake van for my new N-gauge layout, which would go perfectly. Oh, and some sweets. They were included with the gloves. I'm going to have those quick. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed my look at the different model railways. If you liked this and want to see more, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell to not miss any more videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all down the line.